You take me home and give me wings to fly. We can be alone in a castle in the sky. We can run away and leave this world behind.
Hello and welcome back to Storybook Crochet. In today's tutorial I am going to show you how to make these cute little chocolate chip cookies. You can do a lot of different variations. I've even taken the same pattern and made red velvet cookies for Valentine's Day. So for the materials, you're going to need some worsted yarn, and I am using for this tutorial a lighter brown and a darker brown to make your basic chocolate chip cookie. I am also using a 3.5 or US E-hook. You're going to need some scissors, a stitch marker, two 10mm safety eyes. You're going to need a yarn needle and some fiber fill. And then you'll also need just a tiny bit of white yarn to go ahead and line the eyes with. So let's grab all of our supplies and we'll get started. We're going to start by making a magic ring. So to do this, I wrap around 3 fingers, and when I wrap around, I cross over the top of the tail here. Take your hook, go under the tail, and grab your yarn and pull it under. Okay, at this point, I just hold that onto my hook and pull it off my fingers. And then you're just going to chain 1 to secure that, and then I pull the tail out of the circle. So that's how I make my magic rings. So to start our pattern, we're going to start off by making 6 single crochets inside of our ring. So you're just going to go through the center, grab your yarn and pull it through, and then you're going to make your first single crochet. And then you'll just repeat those steps until you have 6 single crochets made. Alright, once you have your 6 made, you're going to just take that tail and you're just going to pull on that, and that will close that opening. And that will complete round number 1. Alright, moving on to round number 2, we're just going to increase in each stitch around. So to do this, you're going to go into that first single crochet that you made and go ahead and make 1 single crochet, and then go into the same stitch and make a second single crochet. So with our increases, we're putting 2 single crochets in each stitch around. So in the next stitch, you'll put your next 2 single crochets, or your increase. So this, at the end of round number 2, you'll have a total of 12 single crochets made. So at this point, I'm going to grab my stitch marker, and I always place mine in the last stitch of each round. But some people like to put theirs in the first stitch of each round, so just whichever your preference is. So for round 3, we're going to start off by making 1 single crochet in the first stitch, and then you're going to increase in the second stitch. So make your 2 single crochets in that stitch. And then you're just going to repeat that pattern all the way around a total of 6 times. So 1 single crochet, and then increase. And at the end of round 3, you'll have a total of 18 single crochets made. Alright, moving on to round number 4, we're going to start again with 1 single crochet in the first stitch, and then we're going to increase in the second stitch. Alright, after those first 3 stitches there, we're going to switch to doing 2 single crochets, so 1 in each of the next 2 stitches. And then you're going to increase in the third stitch. So you'll just repeat that around 2 single crochets and then increase around. At the end of this round, you're going to have 1 single crochet left after your last increase, and you're just going to put 1 single crochet in that very last stitch. So after round 4, you should have a total of 24 single crochets made. To start round number 5, we're going to start by making 3 single crochets. So 1 in each of the first 3 stitches. And then you're going to increase in that 4th stitch. So you'll just repeat that around 5 more times. That'll give you 6 times total for the 3 single crochets and then increase, giving you a total of 30 single crochets at the end of round number 5. Alright, so round 6 is going to be our last increase round. So we're going to start by making 2 single crochets. So 1 and 2, and then you're going to increase in the 3rd stitch. After you get those first set of stitches done, we're going to switch to doing 4 single crochets and then increase. So 1 single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches, and then increase in the 5th stitch. So repeat that pattern around. After your last increase is made, you'll have 2 stitches left. Just put 1 single crochet in each of those last 2 stitches. Alright, next we're going to do our facial features. So we're going to put the eyes, we'll line them with white, and then you'll want to grab whatever color of chocolate chips that you want to make in a length of yarn, and go ahead and get your white too so you can line the eyes. And for the cookies, again, I'm using 10mm safety eyes. Alright, let's start by placing our eyes. So you're going to take your first one, and then I come down kind of at the bottom part of this first round here, so you kind of see it in the center here, and then you're just going to come a little lower for each one, and then you're going to count 1 and 2. So between rows 2 and 3 is where you're going to place your first eye. Okay, and then grab your second one and just do the same thing. So come down 1 and then 2. Alright, and if you don't like that placement, just kind of play around with it and see where you would like to put your eyes. So once you have them where you want them, go ahead and snap your backs on. Alright, and then next we're going to go ahead and line the eyes with our white. So you just need a small length of white here. And then I come up through the back of the piece here, up at the very top of the first eye here. Alright, and then I just come down about 3/4 of the way down the side of the eye, and then go back down through your piece. Okay, and then you're just going to repeat that step for the second eye. Once you have those lined, all you have to do is tie that off in the back, and I put about 3 knots in it just to make sure they don't come undone. Alright, and that finishes off the eyes. So next we need to make our chocolate chips. Alright, so to make your chocolate chips, you're just going to find a spot where you want to start and bring your yarn up, leaving a little tail in the back so you can use that to tie it off at the end. Alright, so then I just come up like 1 row. You don't want to make these huge, and just pull that back down. And then I'll go over that same chocolate chip a total of 3 times. So it kind of makes it stand out just a little bit more, as you can see here. If you are wanting to make the little heart chocolate chips, I'll show you how to do those real quick. So I'm using the white on the red velvet cookies that I'm making. So you're going to just bring your yarn up, and you're going to create a V. So come down for your first stitch here. Alright, and then come up the same as the where you came out the first time. And then create your V shape. Okay, and then I go over each one more time. So you'll do it a total of 2 times over each part of the V. That just makes it a little bit more of the rounded heart shape that you're looking for. And you could do these in white, or even pink would be really cute for Valentine's Day. And that is how you make the heart shape. Alright, now that we have our chocolate chips made, we can move on to round number 7. And for round 7, we're just going to simply put 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So again, this is going to give you a total of 36 single crochets at the end of round 7. And then after that, we're going to start our decreases to start closing up the back of our cookie. Alright, so moving on to round number 8, we're going to start by making 2 single crochets. So 1 and 2, and then we're going to make our first decrease. So I'll show you how to do that real quick. So instead of going under both loops like normal, for my decreases I just go under the front loops. So you'll take your hook, insert under that next front loop, pull your yarn through, and then you're going to take your hook and insert under the next front loop. So you're going into 2 stitches here, pull that loop through. You now have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. So we turned those 2 stitches into 1. Alright, so for the next part of the pattern, we're going to do 4 single crochets and then decrease. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you're going to decrease over the next 2. Alright, so you'll just repeat that around, 4 single crochets and decrease. So at the end of this round, after your last decrease, you'll have 2 stitches left. You're just going to put 1 single crochet in each of those last 2 stitches. Alright, moving on to round 9, we're going to start by making 3 single crochets. Alright, after our 3 are made, we're going to make our first decrease. And then you're just going to repeat that pattern around, so 3 single crochets and decrease. And at the end of this round, you'll have a total of 24 single crochets made. Alright, so moving to round number 10, we're going to start out by making 1 single crochet in the first stitch, and then decrease over the next 2. Alright, after those 2 stitches are made, we're going to switch to doing 2 single crochets. So after your 2, you'll make your next decrease, and you'll repeat the 2 single crochets and decrease around. After your last decrease is made for this round, you'll have 1 stitch left. Go ahead and put 1 single crochet in that very last stitch. Alright, so at this point we're going to go ahead and stuff our cookie, and you just want to do this lightly. You don't want to overstuff it. You kind of want it to still have that flat appearance to it, so it's kind of just lightly stuffed. And just make sure you kind of move it out to the sides of the cookie here. Alright, that looks good to me. Alright, so our last round, we're just going to start off by making 1 single crochet and then decrease over the next 2. And then you'll just repeat that around for the entire round, so 1 single crochet and decrease, and this will give you a total of 12 stitches at the end of this round. Alright, so now that we're at the end of this round, we're going to go ahead and just slip stitch into that next stitch there to finish it off. I'm going to pull that out, cut a little bit of a tail that we're going to use to close this opening. Alright, so at this point you'll just grab your yarn needle here, and then to close this up, go ahead and poke all the rest of your fiber fill in there. You're just going to come through the next front loop there and then out through the next one, and then you'll just pull that through, and then you're just going to keep repeating that all the way around. So we stopped this pattern at 12 stitches left. Normally you would do 6, but I find it just makes it the opening a little bit flatter in the back if you stop at 12. Okay, and then pull that each time so that cinches that opening closed. Alright, once you come to the end, you can just kind of go across the opening a couple times just to finish closing that completely. Alright, and then you're just going to kind of weave your tail through the back a few times to secure that. Now you could always add more chocolate chips to this if you want them on the back too, but I find I just kind of like them on the front. So that completes our chocolate chip cookie. Thank you so much for joining me in today's video and crocheting with me and making our little chocolate chip cookies here. If you enjoyed this pattern, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss my future videos that I will be putting out. I try to add about 2 new tutorials every week. So thanks again for crocheting with me, and I will see you in the next video.
Won't you take me home?